Akabo wa Akatu. This is Daku, and today I want to remind you how important it is to have individual revolution within collective revolution. We always say that you can't win your war as an individual, but each individual can play their part. Now, I know it's tempting to get into organizations and fight in a typical way organizations fight. You know, you have this organization where you have this president, and you got the vice president, and you got the sergeant at arms, then you got the chairman, then you got all these people in all these positions, and it's well known who they are and what their role is. The problem with that is that when you have multiple people knowing what your role is, or what your plan is, then the more people that know it, the more people can tell what it is. You're looking at an article that I just came across. Not sure what the date is on it. I guess it's today. And today is October the 14th. It says Al-Qaeda suspect captured in Libya is taken to New York to face charges. It says a suspected Al-Qaeda operative who was captured in Libya and held aboard an American warship for interrogation has been taken to New York to face charges that he played a role in the bombings of 2 African embassies in 1998, according to federal authorities. Okay? It says that he is one of 21 men indicted in the bombings of the American embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. So he's one of 21. Let's see. I thought I read somewhere. I read it a little earlier, where it says 8 have been killed. He is among 9 in custody. 8 have been killed, including Osama bin Laden. 1 died awaiting trial, and 3 are at large. That's a lot of information for your enemy to have. Now, don't hear me saying that I'm an ally or I approve somehow of Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is not fighting for black liberation. So, let's get that straight. That ain't my fight. You know, they fighting each other for the right to rule your behind, basically. And that's my take on it. But, where did I read this now? I thought I read somewhere in here that American stormtroopers came in and whisked him away. Well, it says the suspected operative was whisked off the streets of Tripoli by American commandos earlier this month. Now, for American commandos to risk their lives and put their feet down in Tripoli to snatch this man up, they had some very good information. Where'd they get the information from? They had to get that type of information from people that were aware of the plot. Now, we just don't need to look at this story. We can look at other stories. We can look at the snitches in Marcus Garvey's movement. We can look at the implants that were implanted in the Nation of Islam, in SNCC, in CORE, in the Black Panther Party, in MOVE, that were implanted and are implanted in all of these organizations. So I know we talk about the importance of organization, and we should be organized, but we should be disorganized. I believe I heard King Noble say this one time as well. We should be disorganized in our organization. I take it to mean, and from my study and my reflection and meditation, I believe that the left hand cannot know what the right hand is doing. So no matter how much I like you, no matter how much I want to roll with your clique, No matter how much I want you to be in my clique. We want to ride deep down the street, wreaking havoc. It doesn't make sense to me to do that. We can go all the way back to the 19th century, and if you can read the title here, in this book, Slave Insurrections in the United States, there's so many stories in this book about individuals that knew of the plots to wreak havoc on the plantation, and they snitched. This Negro here was given his freedom and 5,000 pounds of tobacco for his faithful service, for revealing the plot in Gloucester County. Okay? And there's so many other stories in here that we can look at. Alright? Here's another one. It says, in 1710, there was a plan for an insurrection in Surry County, Virginia. It says, a slave by the name of Will revealed the plot, and as a reward for his loyalty to his master, and treason to his own race, was emancipated. So for his own individual freedom, he snitched. So he affected the collective, looking at the benefit to himself. Okay? He thought about himself. We keep talking about how you can make it in this society. Yes, you can make it in this society individually. But I always say that I have a lot of respect for Harriet Tubman, no matter if she freed one slave, 100, or 1,000. I have respect for her because after she became free, she didn't have to come back and risk her life even one time to help to free one person. She could have lived her life like this fool Will went out and lived his life, no longer helping his race. He was a traitor to his race, and he was given his freedom. Many of us are traitors today when we say, I'm going to take this record deal and I'm going to make these songs that I know that the goddamn white man and the Negropeans want me to make. I'm going to make a lot of money for them. They're going to reward me with more toys and comforts. And it's going to be a happy collaboration between myself and the slave master. We got to be careful not to share our plans with even our closest friends. Because, as Bob Marley said, only your friend knows your secret. So only your friend can reveal it. So it's important, if you're going to do something and you have the power to do it single-handedly, or at least in a small group, the smaller the group, the better. But if you can do it single-handedly, that is ideal in these situations. When we look at John Allen Muhammad, man, he locked down the whole DMV. And those of y'all that's from this area, you know I ain't lying. Just him and a boy, frightened and terrorized, I guess, the whole Washington metropolitan area. Because nobody knew of the plot. The only two people that knew of the plot were wreaking the havoc. So one couldn't snitch on the other. This guy, Abu Anas, whatever the hell his name is, he was part of 21 men that were indicted in the bombings of the American embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. So somebody knew of their plot and their plan. Somebody snitched on them. Again, don't hear me saying that I'm an Al-Qaeda sympathizer. When you see these Arabs and white men fighting against each other, that's about power. They're seeking power for themselves. They're not seeking power for the black man and the black woman. But remember, only your friend knows your secret. So only he can reveal it. So if you know that your family don't understand what you're doing for black liberation, you simply cannot share it with them. you could proceed to teach them, point out some information in some books, teach them some history, little Swahili or whatever you're trying to teach them. But if you about to make a serious power move, you can't tell nobody. Or the smaller the group, the better. Individual revolution within collective revolution. It is very important. This has been Daku Akabo Waakatu.